Well, good morning, YouTube, and welcome to another week in the life of running our dealership, NG Supercars.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and over there is Josh. And, well, we're out of cars. So we're a dealership that has exactly one vehicle for sale, none of the vehicles that we actually normally sell. So that's kind of a problem. I'm gonna start this off with, we need to buy some cars, we need your cars. So if you happen to have a Ferrari, particularly 430, 360, 458, 488 that you're looking to sell, we're very, very interested in buying it. Other cool cars, you know, we just had a Maserati and Aston Martin and some other stuff like that. So sports cars in general, Corvette C6 through 8s, Mustang GT500s, cool stuff. We need to buy some stuff, so we're gonna start off with that. Second of all, if you wanna support us, check out normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services from us using code NGS10, hooks you up with 10% off, and our dealership website, ngsupercars.com, which has nothing on the website right now. So don't go visit right now, it's kind of boring. Let me give you the status of the shop, and then I'll tell you what I've been up to, because I've been gone for a week, and then we'll see what we can get done today. It's already afternoon. I just got into town. As of the moment, the shop. So as I said, we have nothing for sale. So this is Josh's Tesla, and well, it's not for sale. Over here we have a customer's car, and we're doing timing belt service on it. It's a 360 Spider, and a couple other things that we're getting done on it. Don't know the current status of it. I know it's about ready to do the belts, so we'll probably do that tomorrow and bang out a few things. Oh look, he's got an aftermarket front bumper and carbon fiber shields on it. I haven't seen that on a 360 before. Yeah, all the interior's out so that we can do the timing belt service. Oh, he's got that reverse button kit. Cool. Just checking out an aftermarket steering wheel, clearly all carbon fiber and stuff. This is Josh's 458. So this is one of the cars that was in the flood. Josh is redoing a bunch of stuff. So he bought new shocks because the shocks were messed up. He's having to still work on some computer stuff. I think he ordered a bunch of that stuff. I don't know if it's here yet or not. Over here, the shop is reasonably organized. We still have a little bit more to go. Bathroom, kitchen, and office still have no floors, no walls. We did order the tiles. The tile is here. We decided to actually use real tile this time. Last time we had like the stick-ons and they did not survive very well. This 430 was for sale, but it just got a deposit, so it's no longer for sale. That 430 is a customer's car, and it just got converted into a manual transmission. So right here, oh yeah. So that's one of the services that we do offer is manual conversions, especially on 430s and 360s. So if you're interested in getting a manual conversion, can't talk, reach out to us, sales@normalguysupercar.com. And then finally over here is my old 430 that was in the flood, and it is done. So they officially declared it totaled. We're just waiting for them to come get it. It needs to go away. It needs to get out of the shop. It needs to go bye-bye. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to start charging some storage fees because that thing's been here forever in a dilapidated state. I don't know how that's gonna work because it's not drivable. It doesn't have the transmission in it, and they told us that they're not willing to let anyone buy it. They are only willing to sell it to an auction. So unfortunately that means like if I were to want to keep it, I'd have to like buy it back from Copart, which is silly. And then Scott's car. Oh yeah, you guys remember Scott's 360 was sitting out front. It's finally gone. They came and got it. That was a disappointing experience dealing with Hagerty. They are kind of like the go-to in the specialty car world for insurance. They insure a lot of people we know. They insure Ferraris, they insure classics and all that stuff. It's declared value. A lot of people like it. And Scott had a hell of a time with them. So he had declared value policy, and it took, I don't know, almost a month or over a month for it to get settled and for him to get paid out and all that stuff. That's kind of awful. Everyone else got paid out immediately or got taken care of immediately. I don't know why they were being so much a pain in the ass, but basically he had to call them. He got to the point where he was calling them daily and pestering them like, what the hell's going on? They like tried to say that the company doing the estimate was dragging their feet, but that guy was calling us, telling us Hagerty's dragging their feet. So I don't know who was dragging whose feet. It did end up finally getting taken care of. Scott's all set, thankfully. And so now we just need to get that one last car out of the shop to kind of eliminate all the flood cars and be done with it. Although Josh has his. So while we're talking about stupid crap, let's talk about something else stupid that went on. So for the last week, I was on vacation, which was much needed. And thank God, I got to rest, got to see some family, got to chill, not think about the shop, not think about the flood, and just try and relax. Everything about that part was awesome. Everything about the traveling part sucked. One of the worst travel experiences I've ever had in my life. And Josh and I fly a lot. I would say we fly anywhere from, 10 to 15 times a year, maybe 20. Josh flies more than I do. It was American Airlines, and so first, the way out sucked, and the way back was just awful. So the way out, decided to fly out of a smaller airport, Killeen, instead of Austin, because we have our 4-year-old son with us, so it's easier to fly out of the smaller airport than it is to fly out of the big airport because it's less stress. Don't have to worry about him like running out and getting run over by people and all that sort of stuff. We decided to fly out of Killeen instead of Austin because there's nothing direct to where we were going, period. So it was like, okay, well, since there's nothing direct and we're gonna have to make a connection, we might as well fly out of the smaller airport, connect in Dallas, and then that can get us to where we need to go, Grand Rapids. Fly from Killeen to Dallas, and while we're in flight, they change the gate that we're landing at, they change the gate that our next flight's at, and then they delayed it while we're in the air, the next flight. So they ended up delaying the flight by over 5.5 hours total. They kept updating the date, and every time they updated it, it would get longer and longer and longer. They didn't ever exactly say why it got delayed, and then there was a storm, and then all this crap, and then they changed gates on us 4 times. And each time they changed it, we had a different terminal. So we had to go all over Dallas airport with a 4-year-old dragging around and stuff. So it was just really frustrating. Anyway, so we didn't get in until super, super late. Got our rental car, drove to where we were going, whatever. Not the worst thing in the world, but just annoying. Now, the way back was pretty awful. So we're already not real happy with American, the way that went down. Driving to Grand Rapids, we haven't even gotten to the airport, and we get a notification that the flight is delayed. So obviously it's mechanical because we're still like 5+ hours away from the flight, and they're already delaying it. So it's not weather related because there was nothing going on weather-wise. It ended up having some sort of mechanical issue, so plane came in late. Well, they delayed it enough to where we realized we're going to miss our connection. So we weren't going to be able to make it to Killeen. Well, and that was the last flight to Killeen for the day. So before we even got to the airport, I'm calling American saying, hey, is there anything we can do? And there was nothing else available to get us to DFW so we could make it to Killeen. So even though we're like, hey, we'll drive to Detroit, Chicago, South Bend, Fort Wayne, anything. Is there anything? And they said no. So we finally get to the airport, we check in, we've got like 5-6 hours to just sit around and wait. So there's unrelated to the American Airlines stuff, there's like a kid's little room, and our son's playing around in the kids thing. We're about 30 minutes away from the flight, and he trips and busts his lip on the table, and it's bleeding all over the place. So this woman who was in the room tries to find like a first aid kit and asks someone if there's a first aid kit. Well, the airport's policy is like, if you need first aid, they're sending paramedics. So they end up sending like 6 people, like firefighters, paramedics, making a huge commotion. They called an ambulance and all this crap for like a little cut in his lip, and it ended up being this huge thing. And here's our son crying, and it was awful. But anyway, he was a champ, and he eventually got over it. And of course, now we're like 10 minutes away from the flight, so we have to book it across the airport with a son who's, still sort of bleeding. And I've called at this point American Airlines again, trying to say, hey, what can we do, blah, blah, blah. At this point, we've already checked our bags. And so we're like, hey, we call American, we're like, hey, we're gonna miss our flight. Can we just like get our bags in Dallas and rent a car? And they're like, no, you can't get your bags. And you're like, okay, what about renting a car? And they're like, no, we won't let you rent a car, but we will pay for a hotel. And I'm like, okay. So they're trying to like get a hotel, but they're like, oh, the system won't let me get a hotel. You have to wait until after you land. And at this point, we get on the plane, and now there's a weather delay. So Dallas has a ground stop. So I'm like, oh man, lots of people are gonna be delayed. Lots of people are gonna be getting hotels and stuff. Things are gonna be messed up. We finally get airborne, many hours late. We get into Dallas. It's like close to 11 o'clock by the time we finally land. So we're way past the time that, our flight left. So we're screwed. And so we're like, okay, let's check the voucher for a hotel. Well, everything near the airport was already booked up because of everyone that got canceled. So they had to send us like a half hour away from the airport for a hotel. So I'm like, screw this, we're not doing that. Let's just rent a car on our own time and get home. And of course, I had at this point called them again and was like, hey, can we get our bags? And they're like, well, if you talk to the baggage people, they can probably get the bags. So I'm like, okay. So I go talk to the baggage people and they're like, no, you can't get your bags. So we're like, okay, which one is it? Don't know. We're getting mixed messages. 2 people have said yes, 2 people have said no, but ultimately the person working there says no. So we're screwed. So no bags. So we've got no toothbrush, no clean clothes. We're running low on diapers. We're running low on, food for Ash. So whatever. We're going to just rent a car, drive home. We try and find the rental car shuttle, and Dallas just started doing work at the airport, and everything was messed up. It took us over an hour to finally find where to even get to the bus. And like all the sign is messed up. Like they had us going down one-way hallways. You walk way around, come around a corner, it's a dead end. So you gotta walk way back. My son was being a trooper at this point. Mind you, he's been up for, like 20 something hours at this point, and he was just being a trooper. Dragging a 4-year-old around like this at, midnight basically is not fun. Finally get to the rental car place. At this point it's past midnight, and they're literally sold out. Every single rental car place has no cars. We're like, okay, I guess we're going to stay in the hotel. So we take the hotel voucher, and they're like, oh, there's no shuttle buses to the hotel. So we have to rent an Uber. So we rent an Uber, get to the hotel. At this point, it's like 1:30 in the morning or something like that, and we go to sleep. The next morning, we did finally manage to get our flight. It was on time, basically, and got home at like 11 something this afternoon. Quite the adventure. Really, really disappointed with how American Airlines handled all of this. They didn't do a very good job. And I'm really pissed because every time I've flown American lately, they've had delays and all sorts of crap. So I think I'm going to stop using American and go back to Delta only. They're kind of my favorite. I know, first world problems having delays on your vacation, but it was really annoying. Back to cars and doing stuff here. I guess we need to buy cars desperately, and we need to work on some cars, but it is kind of creepy being here and there's no cars and no nothing going on. So I'm gonna chat with Josh more. I got to do some computer stuff. We're still working on trying to get SBA loans. Lots and lots of stuff to get caught up on. All right, YouTube. It's like, I don't know, 4:30. Time's going pretty fast. Did a bunch of stuff on the computer and then started working on the timing belt service on this 360 and ran into a snag. We put the cams at what we thought was top dead center on the right bank, which is cylinder 1. I should have double checked it on the left bank, and I didn't. And for some reason I said, oh, I'm gonna work on the left bank first. Now that I'm in and have the belts off, we noticed one side or the other is off a full tooth on the cams. So the problem is we don't know which one because we didn't TDC it. I just aligned it on the cam marks, not on the proper TDC. So now I have to put back on the cam belt. We're gonna have to TDC it properly and see if it's the right bank or the left bank that is at the proper spot. And whatever one is not, we're gonna have to advance or retard the cams one tooth. It's really hard to see, but the timing mark is right on where it should be there, and it's right on where it should be right there. Okay, kind of hard to see, but it's there. Other side of the engine. Okay, look at that. The mark is way off. See that? Way, way off. Same thing down here. There it is. See that? Look at that. Really clear there. There, right there. It's off a full tooth. So Josh did say that this car was running like dog shit and the spark plugs were fouled up, so that probably has something to do with it.
A few moments later.
All right, that was a total pain in the ass. So what we had to do is basically, so this cam was way off by over a tooth. This cam was actually pretty accurate. First of all, there was timing marks all over. Now that we've got it dialed in, I erased all the timing marks so there's no confusion. I have a theory on the timing marks. I think what happens is The first time someone does a timing belt service on one of these cars and they paint mark the cam pulleys, no one else ever checks on anything again. They just line up those paint marks and then run with it. Whoever did those paint marks was off by a lot. So I think everyone's just been using those paint marks. But anyway, we were using what we thought was TDC by using the cam marks. So anyway, I did actually put in a proper TDC micrometer on cylinder number 1, TDC'd it, and now everything's correct. So we did adjust those cams to be correct. They were way off. I think it's gonna run better. I think it's gonna run a lot better than it did before. I'm hoping that the owner, when he gets it back, will say, hey, this is running a lot better. That would be great. And like a noticeable performance improvement, because when the cams are off by that much, it should be it should be awful. Let's call it good for the day, and then we'll button this thing up tomorrow, and I think we could have it, well, it still needs other stuff, but we could at least have the engine probably running tomorrow-ish, maybe? I don't know. I'm not gonna press my luck. I'm content. Very content. Oh, I'm gonna put new time marks so that if someone gets lazy, at least it'll be correct. All right, since it's all set up, we're gonna let it sit overnight. That should kind of stretch the belts out, let them settle, and then we'll do the tension where we flick the belts and see what harmonics we get and put it to the right hertz. Then lock them in and pull the pins and call it good. What a pain in the ass. Well, you can see the new timing marks are aligned nicely. Hooray. Oh, yeah. The other thing I noticed, so the bearings were starting to get pretty stiff, but when I loosened one of the tensioners, it didn't pop out at all. Oh, really? Yeah. Sealed shut? It was stuck. So that tensioner wasn't doing much tensioning. It wasn't gonna grenade, but it wasn't gonna help a lot. All right, well, that's it for today, you guys. Like I said, I just got back from vacation, so I only slept a few hours last night. I'm exhausted. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and tomorrow's Thursday, which means it's a Thursday night live, so join us 8 p.m. Central. We'll see you guys then.
Tomorrow.
Good morning, YouTube. I almost said Friday. It's Thursday. Okay, Thursday. So we'll kind of wrap up this week's video, although it's only been 2 days. I know, I'm sorry. But next week we'll be back to totally normal. So I kind of try and I'll film most of today and include that in this week's video, and then we'll start next week's video on Friday. But it looks like Josh was able to get the 458 driven, so I left before he left, and so yeah, that thing is apparently driving. I need to order a battery for my GT40 today because the battery is not holding charge anymore. It's just dead. We also need to do just some other boring computer stuff that you guys probably don't really care about, or at least I'm not going to tell you about at this point. So that's not real exciting. Get my head wrapped around things. Oh, yeah. I ended up posting a short yesterday saying, hey, we need cars, because we literally have 0 cars. And holy cow, like 6 or 7 of you were like, hey, I'll sell you my car. So we have a couple deals in motion. Hopefully some of these will result in some more cars coming. A couple of them are really cool cars. Some of them stuff we don't get very often, or I don't even know. I guess maybe we've had them before. We got a Porsche that we're actually looking at and got a pretty fair price on. So that might come this way. A couple of Ferraris and an Aston Martin, some other stuff. So gotta make a lot of emails to discuss these things. You know, there's a lot of steps involved to get to the point at which you actually can say, hey, I want to buy the car. So, gotta verify the VIN, Carfax, pictures, all this stuff. So we're in that kind of early stages, but that's great because hopefully we can get some cars here, and well, that'd be wonderful to just have things moving again and buying and selling cars again and actually generating some revenue. We could use that. Otherwise, still waiting to hear on what they're going to do with that thing. Hopefully I don't know what they want to do. We have a transmission laying on the ground and seats torn apart and stuff. So I don't know if they want us to just like chuck everything inside the car. Maybe. Let me hop on the computer, do some stuff, and kind of get situated, and then we'll carry on. Oh, and today's Thursday, so Thursday night live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central. Join us. We'll talk about cars, business, life, whatever. It's usually pretty fun. It's funny is since we didn't do one last week, I actually kind of miss it. So I'm looking forward to doing it again. So we'll see you guys later tonight. Hey YouTube. All right, so we let the belts sit in this thing overnight, and so they kind of stretch a little overnight, and they feel pretty good. They're still pretty tight. Now if you notice, this pin super loose. This is kind of what you want to see. You should be able to just grab this pin and just slide it out perfectly. That's usually a sign that you're at the right tension. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to actually do a spectrum analyzer. So it's probably a little bit hard to see. But what we're going to do is flick the short section of the belt and the long section of the belt, and those two added together should equal about 190 to 220 hertz. So usually the big section is somewhere around like 75 to 85, and this one's usually around like 120. So we'll flick this and we'll see what it currently says. That's 120. So it's at 240 because this is 120, that's 120. They're both at 120, which is a little bit high. But that's pretty close. Let's see what the other ones are at. And this one, the pin doesn't want to come out, so yeah, it definitely needs to be tighter. Okay, so let's tighten that side. 117 and 60. So just a little bit tighter. This one's at 60. And this one's at 158. 160. So it's actually 220 combined. But I'm going to tighten it down. See if the pin feels... Oh, the pin feels a little looser. Still a little bit wonky on that one. 150. 88. 115 to 88. So that's 238. It's a little high. Given that one's got the perfect tension on the tensioner thing, I'm going to leave it. But this one might need a little bit more. Now it's really tight on that tensioner pin, so I don't like that. Oh yeah, way too tight. It's like the perfect tension on the pin. Yeah. Let's see how that comes out. A little high, but I like the tension on this. That's really nice. Same with this one. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna spin it a full revolution and see if we get the same tensions and stuff after that. So. There. Let's top it center again. Those feel good. Oh yeah. Let's flip them. $120. It's a little high again. a little bit high, but it's not bad. So I guess we could loosen it a tiny bit, and then these would get a little bit tighter. I guess we could do that. Oh, 90 and 120 is perfect. So we're going to tighten that thing down. I'll get the torque specs and tighten it down properly a second. About just a touch too high on that one. Nice. Spot on. Oh, yes. All right, so we just torqued those down and then pull the pins. Well, since it's kind of a quiet day, Meg took the day off just to like kind of get readjusted back to normal life and do some stuff at the home and whatever. So I played hooky and got to go have lunch with my wife. That was awesome. I miss doing that. So not a whole lot's happening today. I'm on the computer, so I don't really have like anything exciting to show you guys. I gotta take out the trash. It's trash day tomorrow. Not very exciting. I need to answer some more emails. The good news is we've got like 6 or 7 deals on cars that we're negotiating on. So we have 2 confirmed deals so far. Another one that's a pretty solid chance of going through. So that would be, and actually that's for 2 cars. That's 4 cars that we're working on that look pretty promising. The good news is we're trying to get some cars in the shop. So I don't think it'll happen next week, but probably the week after. So probably like cars here first week of like September or so. Hopefully we can get some cars here soon because we desperately need some cars here. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at today. I'm gonna take out the trash. Well, I guess that does it for this week in the life of running our dealership, NG Supercars. Since it's kind of a slow week, not a whole lot going on. Half of the week was on vacation, half the week here, and we'll be back at it tomorrow, so that'll be in the next week's video. So like, share, and subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services from us, including get your car converted if you have a Ferrari F430 or 360. If you have other F1 transmission cars, we can arrange for them to get done, but we don't do them in-house. And of course, we can do stuff like exhaust installs, valve cover gaskets, oil changes, timing belts, and all sorts of other stuff on your Ferrari. So reach out to us if you need any services, sales at normalguysupercar.com. And hopefully we'll have some cars for you guys to buy very soon. So that's why I'm just gonna go home and work on that for the rest of the day. It's only like 4 o'clock, but I'm just gonna be on the computer for the rest of the day, so I might as well go home. So I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. It's gonna be sweet.